Hello and welcome back, viewers, listeners, wherever you're coming from or tuning in from. We are here on another episode of Inside the Box by CrossFit Angola. I'm super excited for this episode because I got Ken back in action, and today we're going to be talking about
the Keto Diet.
The Keto Diet, yes.
Nailed it.
This will be a fun conversation slash episode. Basically, we're just going to go over the Keto Diet, what it is, how it works, pros, cons, how to be successful, whether you should try it or not, all those kinds of things. We're just getting into a deep dive into the overall diet itself.
Right, so as the nutrition coach, I felt that it was important when I started to learn about nutrition that I tried every main diet, because I get asked this question at least once a week, if not every other week, about the keto diet. Should people do it? Is it good for them? How do they do it? And I wanted to use this platform to give out all of the information that I have found, that I have personally tested. And from my years of working in nutrition, this is all the information about the keto diet all in one place.
Yes.
So if anybody has any questions about the keto diet, we can just refer them to this, and hopefully this answers any questions.
Yeah, and it'll be fun too because I get to play the antagonist, which I always love doing that. I always like being the antagonist, or
stickler.
Yeah, poking the buttons and doing all those kind of things, because I'm not necessarily against, but I do have some juxtapositions. Is that the word, juxtapositions?
I have no idea. That's a long word.
I know, that's what I was trying to say.
I don't think that's the right context, but I don't know enough about that word to say, so.
I don't know, but I was reaching for a big word there. But essentially, I have some cons that I favor against that keto diet, although it is beneficial. You will find, as we talk about this diet, it can be successful if done correctly. But I'm just kind of on that I don't want to say anti, it's not the best word, but I'm on the, maybe try something else. But if it works for you, it does work, and we're going to get into that.
Right, and my stance is I'm providing the information. At the end of this podcast, I will tell you my recommendations, but between now and then, it is information-based so that you guys have the knowledge.
Absolutely. So let's go ahead and let's just dive into the keto diet itself. So in order to do that, there might be some of you that are listening or watching, depending on where you're at or what you're doing. So let's just go ahead and talk about what is the keto diet itself.
Yeah, so the keto diet got its fame in the last 5-7 years, something like that.
Yeah.
It got its popularity from its quick results that it can give you. And if you go and look at the magazine rack of any store, you're gonna see 5 magazines that has try the keto diet, lose 100 pounds in 6 months. And that's how it got popular. It's very similar to the Atkins diet that got popular in the 90s. There are lots of similarities between the two of them. But essentially what the keto diet is it's a way to balance your macronutrients, so your protein, your fat, and your carb intake is disproportionate. So basically about 80% of your calories overall come from fat.
Right.
About 10 to 15% come from protein, and then 5% comes from carbohydrates. So you're talking less than 30 to 50 grams of carbohydrates a day, which for most people most people get that in a meal.
Yeah, that's what makes this diet crazy in a way, or tough, or challenging. Is because, if you think about it, bananas, if you love bananas, it's a no-go. Ken, I know you love bananas.
I do love bananas.
But like fruits and stuff like that are very limited. If for some reason you're eating potato chips, that's a definite no-go. But
and that's one of the downsides is like fruits, like bananas. It can be good for you, a good source of energy, but a banana is about 30 grams of carbs. There goes your carb allotment for the day.
That's what's crazy about it.
Yeah.
It becomes challenging, but that's what we're gonna dive into a little bit more, or dive more into here in a little bit. But so when we look at that, so why is it that way? Why do we sit there and we just take those carbs and just restrict them, but we can eat a bunch of fats, we can eat protein? Like, what's the idea and the concept, and how does that work?
Yeah, so how your body uses energy, it comes down to how your body uses energy.
Right.
For 99.999% of us, your body uses carbohydrates as energy.
Right.
So when you eat or drink carbohydrates, it gets processed in your body and it becomes sugar or glucose. So for you and me, talking, moving around, exercising, our body is using glucose.
Right.
On the ketogenic diet, the keto diet, your body takes in almost no carbohydrates. So there goes your energy source.
Yeah.
Okay. So so your body's not using carbs as energy. Your body needs to look for a different energy source, and that's where fat comes in. So you cut the carbs completely out, and you add in 80% of your diet is coming from fat. What happens when you do that is your body starts producing these things called ketones. Ketones.
Okay, yeah.
Hence the keto diet. That's why your body is using these ketones as your energy source as opposed to glucose.
Right.
So that's the main difference in the keto diet. That's what your body is doing when you're in ketosis.
Okay, makes sense. And so that's where things can get tricky, right? Is the idea of like when we take, because if we start to balance and we start to focus on, because like we just mentioned, we take out bananas. So no bananas, no carb, nothing. You get no, carbs are very, very limited. And we have to make sure we're getting a concentrated amount of fat and protein. And that's where it becomes tough. So let's talk about, I'm trying to think how to phrase this. So let's kind of run through the process of the keto diet. Let's take a 7-day week, for example. What does that kind of look like? It doesn't have to be specific foods, but like, okay, I'm approaching my breakfast. What might my breakfast kind of look like?
Eggs and bacon.
Yeah.
It's freaking eggs and bacon. And butter and melted butter, eggs, whole eggs, bacon, sausage, pork, things like that. Super high fatty foods.
Okay.
That's essentially it. This is one thing on the keto diet. Bacon is favorable. It's good.
Which sometimes wins some people.
Yeah. So it's loaded in fatty foods like that.
Okay.
It is zero juices, so no orange juice or anything like that. No oatmeal, no fruit with it. It's just meat. Think meat and eggs, things that used to be alive, animals.
Yeah. So it's almost a carnivorous diet, to be honest with you.
It can be a carnivorous diet. But then you also add in things like butter and nuts and seeds, because nuts and seeds are super fatty. Avocados, things like that.
Okay.
So that's most of your meals, breakfast, lunch, and dinner is all going to be very similar foods to that. Using things like sour cream, heavy whipping cream, butter, milk, like I said, bacon on everything. That's what you need. 80% of your calories to be fat. So all these super high fatty foods that a lot of people avoid or try to limit, all of a sudden that's favored, and that is almost all of your calories is that.
Okay, makes sense. So, and that's what gives us that like little transfer energy systems. That's where it goes from carbs to okay, now we're going to favor fats. We're going to start utilizing fat and start burning fat.
Right. So what happens is when you make that transition and you go from burning glucose to burning ketones, your body goes through what's called the Keto Flu, and this is one of the downsides of the keto diet is when your body is craving the carbohydrates that if you're 30 years old, you've been eating carbs for 30 years, when you all of a sudden cut it out of your diet, your body wants those carbs and it makes you essentially sick. They call it the Keto Flu.
I haven't heard that one. Okay.
Yeah, Keto Flu. And it lasts anywhere from a day to a week, just depending on everyone's individual bodies.
Yeah.
But that will happen. You get lightheaded, you get foggy brain. You just feel like you have the flu. Is essentially what it is.
Interesting.
And that's all that is your body transitioning to burning ketones.
Okay. Makes sense. So let's go ahead and let's take it from there and let's start diving into those pros and cons. So we already mentioned a little bit of one con is the idea of like the keto flu where, we start to feel sick, literally. Start to feel sick, literally.
Yeah, you are literally sick. Yeah.
So let's look at some pros first and then we'll dive a little bit more into cons. But what are some pros and positives and like good things about the keto diet?
Yeah, so the pros, first and foremost, it tastes good. I mean, freaking bacon and eggs every meal.
And butter.
And butter.
You can't beat that.
Yeah, I used to, there's something called bulletproof coffee where you mix a stick of butter and coconut oil and you mix it in with your coffee in a blender.
It sounds kind of horrible to be honest.
Yeah. It's weird. It makes a weird consistency, but it's a thing. It's a keto thing. It's called bulletproof coffee. And it makes it's weird consistency. Anyway, so it tastes good. I mean, quite frankly, that's one of the better tasting diets because all these foods that you typically try to avoid, eat the hell out of them. All of them you can.
Yeah, slather everything in butter.
Yep.
Like, you can't beat that.
Yeah. So that's the first thing is it tastes better. You are efficiently burning fat So people that have stored fat, so let's say you're overweight, your body, all the extra weight in your body is just stored fat. It's stored energy. When you get on the keto diet and you do it correctly, then your body starts using that fat that you have stored as your energy.
Right.
So instead of storing the fat, your body's using the fat. So that's another benefit, is your body is called being fat adapted. So your body is adapted to burning fat as fuel.
Yeah, and I've seen that success because I've had a friend who's done the keto diet. He did it correctly, followed through, making sure it was high fats, low carbs, protein. He was on it. He did it very successfully. He went from like 325, I want to say, something up there, and he got down to like 215.
Yeah.
And it was a fairly fast paced decrease, which can be expected with the keto. But yeah, it was impressive. It worked efficiently. It did what it was supposed to do.
Yep, that's one of them. So when you do that correctly, you start burning fat effectively, then your body drops weight.
Yeah.
Like that.
Oh yeah, he looked really good. Like, I was fully impressed. But yeah,
that is a benefit. It potentially, you can lose a lot of weight fast. Hang with me, there is still some downsides. So you heard that.
Everyone's like,
I gotta try it. No, hang with me a little bit. But the other good thing about it, the other thing that I like about the keto diet, is you cannot have any sugar on the keto diet.
That is pretty neat, because just in a normal diet, or whether your daily nutrition, it's very hard to even limit whether you're eating healthy or not, like sugars.
Yeah.
Especially added, it's like, oh hey.
Yep.
That's pretty good.
Yeah, sugar is going to be another podcast down the road.
Yeah.
I tell people all the time, added sugar is like tobacco; it just kills you slowly.
Oh,
and
yeah.
I firmly believe that.
Yeah.
So on a keto diet, can't have sugar.
Yeah.
So it's super low carbs, virtually no carbohydrates. So no bread, no pasta, no spaghetti, none of the empty carbs, no French fries, no buns, no anything like that.
So now I have a question before we go any farther.
Let's hear it.
Did your love for mustard come from this diet?
No, I just love mustard.
Okay. I'm just curious. I remember my buddy, that's what everything was, just drenched in mustard.
There's nothing wrong with that. No, talking shit about mustard. I like mustard. Mustard is good on any diet.
If you say so.
People love mustard. But yeah, so those are the benefits. Those are the big benefits.
Right.
You can lose weight. You can cut down sugar carbs. And the other one is cognitive health. So your brain functions.
I have heard, yeah.
Yes, so when your brain runs more effectively on ketones. So cognitively, you are sharper. Once you start getting on the keto diet consistently, you'll notice an increase in cognitive health as well.
Yeah, which is, not a bad thing, especially for those that sit at offices or need mental awareness. That could always definitely be something that helps.
Yep, and people that get into the 40s, 50s, 60s, as we start to age, that is a potential benefit.
Yeah, interesting. Sure. Okay. So now let's start to look at that downside, because I know the downsides of more of the keto diet than I do upsides, besides the immense weight loss, just because I've just seen that side of it.
Hey, you know exactly where I'm going, so I'll let you start. So what's the downside?
So downside is definitely sustainability. One, obviously, as we're just talking right now, you take out fruits, which are very beneficial just to overall health. Bananas, apples, oranges, whatever it is, you can't eat any of that. So that's all taken out. And those are very beneficial in general. It's also hard to sustain without those things, because you're eating more or less the same exact things. You can't switch it up and go I'm gonna do some rice today. It's
nope.
Like you said, it's bacon, it's butter, and just high fat foods. Meat. So it's very just repetitive. There is no diversity to it. The other thing is, if done correctly, but you decide to stop, that's typically where I see the downfall of the keto diet, because diets aren't necessarily meant to be done forever, and the keto is one that's kind of one you have to, because as soon as you switch off that keto diet, and this is where my buddy comes back into play. He lost a lot of weight, but he took that time where he switched back. He's like, okay, I'm done with the keto diet. I lost all my weight. I want to go back to eating, fruits, veggies, rice, and all that stuff. And then boom, he's back up to 300 pounds.
Yeah, and that kills you because I mean they work so hard to lose all that weight.
Oh yeah.
Put it back. Yeah, you hit it. The big thing, the biggest reason that I don't recommend the keto diet right off the bat is the sustainability piece.
Super tough.
Is a question to ask yourself if you are considering doing the keto diet, and if you talk to me about this, I'll ask you the same question. Do you see yourself eating carbohydrates 5 years from now?
Right.
If the answer to that question is yes, don't do the keto diet.
Right. So yeah.
When you do the keto diet, you're fine. It's when you get off of the keto diet and you go back to what you were doing before, you will gain all the weight back that you lost and then some.
Yeah.
That is what happens to the keto diet. People don't believe me. That is what happens when you do the keto diet.
Oh, 100%. I've seen it with my own eyes.
Yeah.
1,000% happens.
I have too.
Yeah.
I have too. That's the biggest thing. Is that sustainability piece. The other, and I have a list of nonsense, but that's the big one is the sustainability.
Absolutely.
I dislike elimination diets.
Right. And that's where I had that same like kind of position. What's the point? Yeah.
Telling somebody you can't eat XYZ
Yeah.
ends up in them eating XYZ.
Yeah.
Almost every time.
And if they don't for a while, it ends up being one day they're gonna binge it all.
That's called the restrict binge cycle. So
Yeah.
when you restrict yourself from eating something for a certain amount of time,
Yeah.
dude, every day goes by, you want that
Crave.
some bitch more and more and more.
Yeah.
And eventually it'll happen.
And boom.
You'll cave and it's game over.
Yeah. No. Exactly.
It is game over. So that's why I don't recommend elimination diets. Because I would rather have you add things
Yeah.
as opposed to taking things away. The other thing with elimination diets is if I tell you not to think about something,
You're gonna think about
you're
it.
going to think about
Oh,
it
yeah,
every goddamn time.
Tell me don't do cookies, I'm just gonna sit there and think about cookies.
You're going to have dreams about cookies.
Yeah.
Especially as time goes on.
Cookie land.
Yep. Yes. Yeah, and this is essentially, it is an elimination diet. You're eliminating carbs.
Yeah.
And there are better ways to do that than going full or into keto diet.
Yeah. I mean, that's like that all or nothing. It's like,
Right.
it's like even like whether it's like you take a workout, for example, or whatever it is, you're taking that all or nothing mentality. It's like you're either doing keto or you're not. There's no in between.
Yeah.
It's like you can't like one day I'm gonna have a little carbs. It doesn't work that way.
Yep.
It has to be all in or all out.
Yeah, that's I just watched the Karate Kid a couple weeks ago, and Mr. Miyagi had a line like that.
Yeah.
You're either walking on this side of the road, doing keto, walking on this side of the road, not doing keto. Do not go in the middle.
Yeah.
You will get crushed.
Yeah, no, that's what the keto diet does. It's like that's typically for those that do try it. Like again, it's okay to try it. You just have to keep your mental state understanding that okay, this is gonna be different. It's gonna be challenging. It's one of those all or nothing things. But those that try it end up flipping in the middle.
Yeah.
Because they think, okay, if I do it for 2 days, the one day I have a little bit more carbs is okay. But that's where most people will fully fail with that keto diet.
And that's another part I forgot to mention. Thank you. Is when you are doing the keto diet, you need to be in ketosis, and there's only one way to be able to tell if you are in ketosis. You can buy them online. They're called keto strips, and they have two different kinds. It's a urine test or a blood test. Do the blood test.
More accurate. Yeah.
The urine test is literally just what your body is expelling. It's not what's actually in your system.
Yeah.
So you need the blood test. Take the test, and that will tell you if there are ketones in your blood and if you're doing it the right way.
I did not know that. That's like new since it started. Because like when I started, I was still in high school. So that's when I did not know they had that far along.
Yeah, so that's the only way to tell, because otherwise, if you don't know if you're doing a keto diet but you're not in ketosis, if your body's still burning glucose and carbohydrates as fuel and you're eating a whole bunch of fat, guess where that fat's going?
All everywhere.
Belly, butt, legs, all places you don't want it.
Yeah.
So
I mean, if your goal's weight gain, then you can do it successfully at that point.
That will do it.
Yeah, that's a big piece of the puzzle when it comes to like success and not being successful with diet. Like we said, it can work and it does have benefits. So it's not like Satan, it's not the devil, it's not the worst thing to come. But if you do it, you have to do it right, or it's gonna give you that other side of the blade.
Yeah.
So it's gonna
and it happens quick too.
Yes.
When you start gaining the weight back, it happens like an avalanche all at once, and it feels like there's nothing you can do about it. And I'm talking from experience of people that have done this and have reported back to me.
Yeah.
That's what happens.
Oh yeah.
And then the other another downside of this is your body has different energy systems operating.
Yep.
So you have a fast twitch muscle, so think like full out sprinting is one. Then you have anything less than like 30 seconds to a minute. That's that. Yep. So there's anaerobic, aerobic, and oxidative.
Yep.
Okay. So that fast twitch muscles you don't have on the keto diet.
Right.
The keto diet, you are better for long endurance workouts, things like marathons, half marathons, long triathlons.
Yeah.
Longer,
for 2-3 hours.
Yep, longer workouts, and that's great for it. There are lots of marathon runners that do the keto diet that helps them, and that's great. You lose that fast energy system, so you lose that 0 minutes to 8 minutes fast intense. Yeah. Your workouts are going to be shitty.
Yeah, you're not gonna feel good.
Correct.
Yeah.
You don't have that because that's what glucose is for. Is you're burning glucose when you are in those energy systems. When you remove glucose from the equation, you no longer have that to go to.
Right, and like you can even test this now for people that work all day long. Let's say you don't eat like any carbs all day. Say breakfast in the morning, lunches, whatever, and you don't have any snacks or carbs. If you go like work out, and you've ever noticed like, man, I just feel like shit. Why does this workout feel like shit? And it's like a faster paced workout. It's probably because you don't have a good amount of fuel in you, carbohydrates. So like that's just an easy way you can even test it. But you put that onto the keto diet, you're doing that every day. There is no such thing as fast. It's lifting, slow and steady.
So that's not to say you can't work out on the keto diet. You absolutely can. But you just lose that high intensity aspect of it.
The speed, the fast. The time aspect gets altered in a way.
Yep, and that so the intensity, and that's CrossFit's big thing is intensity breeds adaptation. So that's just a piece you miss.
Yep, absolutely. So we've been talking a lot about the keto diet. We've covered a lot of things. Is there any last minute regards or last things you want to mention about the keto that we think we miss? Whether it's downsides, positives, what it is. Talk about how to do it a little bit more. Or is there anything else you want to talk about on that end of things?
Yeah, the only other thing that goes well with the keto diet that I didn't mention is intermittent fasting. So intermittent fasting and the ketogenic diet pair very well to each other. When you're on the keto diet and your body's burning fat as fuel, you are hungry less often, so you can go longer in between meals. Okay, so intermittent fasting is a way to time your meals throughout the day so that you eat all of your food in an 8-hour window and then you go 16 hours without eating.
Right, okay,
That does a couple of things. One, if you are only eating in 8 hours instead of most people eat all day long, your overall calorie intake is probably going to be less.
Yeah.
There's also a lot of good microbiome research done that says that fasting will improve your gut health.
Which is always good.
Which is always good. Yeah, so intermittent fasting does pair itself very well to the keto diet.
Okay, cool. I did not know that one.
Yeah.
That's a new fact. I like that.
There we go.
Cool.
You're welcome.
All right. So that's the keto diet in a nutshell.
Yep.
So obviously, if anybody that's listening has questions about the keto diet, they can always get a hold of you, whether that's email, at the gym, Facebook.
Yeah.
They can always get a hold of you there. But now let's talk about your perspective or recommendation or final thoughts on what you have with the keto diet.
My goal is and always has been to help people live healthy lives outside of the gym. So I give people my honest recommendations because soft talk. I'm giving you my recommendations because this is what's going to keep you the healthiest, longest, and that is eating real food. Eat your fruits and veggies, balance your macros and your protein, carbs, fats, meal prep, eat normal food.
Yeah.
That's what I always recommend to people because that will help you build good habits that you can sustain over a lifetime.
Right.
Anyone that comes to me talking about nutrition coaching and all of my nutrition clients, I have them start there. Build good habits, prep your food, eat real food that used to be alive, eat your veggies, eat your fruit, eat your meat, and go from there.
Yeah, absolutely.
That is always the best thing to do. That is more sustainable long term, better for your overall health. Cutting out fruits and veggies, I don't like it.
Yeah, I agree.
I don't like it.
And I mean, even myself, I haven't tried all diets. I haven't tried all these things, but for I've lost 90 pounds, I've lost 20 pounds, I've gone up and down, I've played things, I've done things, I've changed things. And every time, the easiest and most effective way is just to go back to the good habits I know and can use. And that is, like you said, eating whole, healthy foods, meal prepping, and just boom.
Yep.
Every time I lose, I go right where I need to be, I can sustain it, and like, I feel great.
Yep.
Like, yeah.
So that's always what I tell people. There are clients that get there, that do the habits and they do the things, they practice, they have good habits, and they eat whole food, and they say, well, I want to do the keto diet.
Yeah.
I want to try it. I don't miss carbs. My mom is one that does the keto diet.
Yeah,
She's been doing it for a while. She lost a lot of weight doing it. She doesn't miss the carbs.
Which is awesome.
Yeah, she's doing it the right way.
Yeah.
And I have another client, Susan, same thing, where she did the right thing. She lost some weight, eating whole food, doing things the right way, and wanted to take it a step further and do the keto diet.
Yeah.
So I'm not opposed to doing the keto diet.
Right.
I'm opposed to you doing it incorrectly. So anybody that wants to do the keto diet, I'm offering a free consultation. Come and talk to me, so that if you are going to do it, at least I can put you on the right path and make sure that you're on the right track. Because it's easy to mess it up, and if you mess it up, you're gonna get terrible results.
It's got repercussions like that time.
Yep.
Absolutely.
So that's my recommendation. Always start with whole foods. Start with good habits. And if the keto diet is something else that you want to work on down the road, let me know.
Yep. Yeah, absolutely. Like I said, I'm against it, but I also am a creature of activity, so I don't like feeling diminished and drained. So, but it's got its benefits. So if you always want to try it, again, reach out to Ken. It can be worth it. It can have benefits, and maybe it works for you. That's awesome. If it does, it does. If it doesn't, we can always recorrect and change from there. But yeah. Any last minute comments here, Ken, to wrap things up?
Nope, I think I got everything on my notes. So if anybody has questions about it, again, hit me up, Ken at CrossFitAngola.com. Or if you're in the gym, just pull me over before or after class, and I'll tell you everything I know.
Absolutely. And if you don't have a way of emailing or being at the gym, just feel free to comment down below if you're watching it, or find us on social media, shoot us a message, and we'll definitely try to help you out as much as we can. But yeah, that concludes our episode today. Dived into the ketogenic world. So hopefully this was very beneficial for those that are listening. You got a lot out of it. And again, with questions, feel free to hit us up. But that is our episode for today. So we will see you guys on the next episode.
Cheers.